Wow, this is kind of mellow. I hope you're ready because we're going to go right now. Good damn morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, the guy who is tired of hearing the word insurrection because it's such nonsense. All these people using this word, and even a court now has said it. This has been propaganda from the very beginning of this whole thing, and I'm tired of hearing it. There was no insurrection, and because the term insurrection has been used as a cudgel with a singular purpose, and it's been this singular purpose ever since that day on January 6th when I started hearing news media people throw the word around. And then when all the Democratic politicians started saying the same dumbass stuff, that's what I knew. This was a word with a plan, and it was very well planned out, and they've got it stuck in the minds of American people, and they can't get off of the stupid. They are stuck on stupid. I'm just saying it right now, again, as I've said it many times. So the show is going to be related to Colorado for a lot of the time, and that word insurrection and just the things that are even still trending because of Colorado. We'll get some more reactions from Colorado. We'll get some stupid tweets and maybe some other news. So that's what we're doing today. Just like many days, we got a lot to do. So let's start the show. Johnny, would you play the intro, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
All right. Shall we do this thing? Johnny, stop the music. Let's get this thing started. Ooh, that was abrupt. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel on this Thursday, the 21st of December. Hope you get your Christmas shopping done if you do that kind of thing. I know not everybody's a Christian, but all you Christmas peoples, some of you even do Christmas stuff even without being the Christian people, but that's okay. I guess we haven't done it. Well, Lady Boomer did all the shopping as usual. And I have some stocking stuffers that I haven't told her about yet, so I hope she's not listening. And plus, I hope you're just having a great day. But you got three shopping days: today, tomorrow, Saturday, maybe Sunday if anything's open on Sunday. I'm having an interesting week. I mean, yesterday I got to go up and see the baby girl, my daughter's daughter, and hang out for a little bit. And all of a sudden, she just wants to be with Bubba too now. It's like I went up there to do some work on their house for them. And baby girl wanted Bubba to hold her. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just hang out with you for a little bit. And we played with the puzzle. And she's okay, so she's, let's see, she is 21 months, basically. 20 months, whatever, just over a year and a half years old. And she's telling me all the colors on the puzzle. And I'm like, oh, she's starting to know her colors and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. And then she knows some letters. It's cool. And I mean, I'm like, wow, this kid's not even 2 yet. And she's telling me colors and letters, and she put the little puzzle pieces in the puzzle. And I'm just like, oh, I just love watching kids grow up and develop and all that stuff. So I love it. Anyway, Let's get the show started, because I got a ton of news and tabs and stuff. A lot of it's related to the stuff that's with this Colorado thing, because people are still really talking about this subject. In fact, if you look at the Twitter trends, about half of them are related to Colorado or, the Constitution or 14th Amendment, insurrection, all these things that are related because of this action that the Colorado Supreme Court took, which I believe to be very unconstitutional in many ways. Even the fact that they made a determination that Donald Trump was was engaged in insurrection. Like, how does this Colorado Supreme Court determine that without any due process trial of even that particular part of the decision they made? So we're going to go over a lot of the reactions and a lot of other things that are trending related to that. But first, of course, as we always do on this show, we say good morning to the people in the chat. So, and I'll try to keep up with that. There's not, I see Monkeys still streaming right now. So we'll see what's happening over there too. So let's say hi to the people who are here though. I appreciate you joining us today. First in the chat over on Rumble, Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. And I did not forget your theme music today. Well, what is that? I did not mean to see that. Here, in fact, I'm going to put Monkey's channel on and then I'm going to mute it just in case if it pops on. Also in the chat over on Rumble. What is going on here? There we go. Also in the chat over on Rumble, Mr. Gunfox61, the administrator of the YouTube, the Discord server for the P-Dog Night channel. Good morning. Also, Jimmy Das Hotep from Hotep Nation. Also, Renee Mayette, Mike Savage, Blarg, and Sully209. That's a crowd on Rumble today. 13 watching on Rumble. I'll be dang. That's usually you don't get that many over there so quickly. So there you go. Jimmy says anyone that says that was an insurrection is a lying piece of shit. Fuck them and their stupid face. Spot on there. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay, over on YouTube, first in the chat. Also, Avocados Diablo gets the bell. You gotta be quick. You gotta be quick. The little, remember that? Was that a Geico commercial? What was that? When the guy, the old fisherman in there, and he has a $1 bill on a fishing line, and you gotta be quick. You gotta be quick. Also, JB, JB was so close, JB. You know what, JB? I'm gonna give you, because I saw it, you guys pop up, and it was literally one after the other. So JB, I'm gonna give you a bell too, just for, you get the second place. Also ran bell, but still, you were here very fast. Also, good morning on YouTube, Gunfox61. Tyre Alexander's in the house. The gentleman, Lich. Also, Jimmy Dawes Hotep, also on Rumble. Simon Wolfwood, Mike Savage, Blarg, also Anonymity. T2, I'll be back. Nice to see you. Good morning also. Mark Smart, welcome back. Nice to see you again. GDSOB's in the house. And let's see. I say Darren Root, what's up? Rod Line, #1 is here. Tyler F. and Bookworm Addict, welcome. That's everybody so far. So, hey, if you haven't done so yet, share the stream. I have posted it on Twitter. You can just retweet me if you want, or you can retweet Jimmy Das Hotep, who's also shared the thing, or Somnambule Nation, or Mac Wolf, aka Gunfox61. In fact, here's what I'm gonna do. If you're on Twitter, I'm gonna take links. Here's Gunfox61's tweet. I'll put it in the chat. There, you can follow Gunfox on Twitter. Okay. You can also follow Somnambule Nation on Twitter. And I'm going to put some links. If you're not following these people yet, you can follow Jimmy Das Hotep on Twitter. I'm putting Twitter links in the chat. Oh, Annalyn's in the house. Nice to see you. Good to have you here. Also, Anthrax Allen, what's up? Just came from Monkey Stream. He was bitching about millennials. Well, there you go. I like to bitch about millennials. Welcome over to this show. So there you go. If those 3X links there are people who have tweeted out the show today. Thanks for hit those and follow them. I appreciate that. Oh, and Tyre Alexander, thank you for retweeting the show. Okay, let's go ahead. Well, here I was gonna say, what was Monkey bitching about here? Let's just pop over to Ranting Monkey for a second and see what's going on with Monk. See what he's talking about here. So here we go. Here's Ranting Monkey. I'm just gonna. Oh wait, am I way behind on him? Oh no, is that? Oh, he's done. Is he done over there? It looks like he was there for an hour. Is he live? No, he's done. I got you. Okay, got it. I see. So he's done. Never mind. I thought he was streaming right now. Anyway, well, thanks for coming over. I'm going to take this off the screen because I don't want that. I guess I'm going to just close that. If you're not familiar with Ranting Monkey, he's my bud. So I want to go into just things that are happening and trending on Twitter, like I do always start with that. So a few things. It is the season, right? It is the season, and today, being the 21st of December, 2023, Thursday, today is the first day of winter solstice. So a lot of people are just tweeting about happy winter solstice, and including this young lady whose handle is Merry Christmas, but she's saying happy winter solstice. I'm trying to figure out. I'm not sure why. But I guess because it's winter solstice. But this was the one that I thought was interesting though. For us penguins, today is the longest day of the year. It's the summer solstice for us, and all inhabitants of the southern hemisphere, feathered or otherwise. To all in the northern hemisphere, happy winter solstice. To all who celebrate. So if you celebrate winter solstice, if you're pine needle eating, grass touching, dirt bathing, whatever one of those folks, happy winter solstice. By the way, I do have my cup of reparations in the, what is this one? This is the Holly Jolly cup today. Wait, get over here. There. Holly Jolly cup. Hey, Lemmy, I love being here, but I always wake up late. Happy to be up in time for you. Well, that's fantastic, and I'm glad you're here. I really am, Anthrax Allen. Okay, so that's all I have to say about winter solstice. People are saying happy winter solstice, and I'm afraid to scroll. You know how it is on Twitter. Any special days, in fact, let me see how long it takes for me to scroll. I'm not going to do it on the screen because you don't want boobs and butts on your Twitter, on your YouTube channel. But I'm going to just scroll here slowly and see how many it takes. I'm about 9, 12, 15. It almost always happens, although it's taking me a little longer than normal, where I end up, there's one. I knew it. All I had to do is scroll about halfway down the page and I would find somebody showing their boobs and or butts and or penis. And I'm not going to show it on the screen. So there you go. Also trending because of the days, though, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Now, I can't put the first one on the screen. The very first one is some hairy-ass guy pulling out his penis, and I'm not going to show that on the screen, and I don't want to see it, so I'm scrolling away from it as fast as I can. Let's see if I can find one that is just decent people saying Merry Christmas. I see furries. I see some Korean dude. Can I get a good one? It's not Christmas yet, and it's certainly not New Year yet, but a lot of people are saying Merry. Oh my God, I can't even. I'm trying. I was gonna put. Here we go. Here's a nice one. Okay, finally, there we go. There's our first Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. The nice little, snow scene and presents, and then to get the weird one right underneath it. Anyone understand what that one's about? I don't know. Anyway, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year is trending. Good God. Then also it's still holidays. So, what happened to the other one? This was supposed to be. Oh my goodness, what happened? And then also Happy Holidays is trending. Okay, and so I know a lot of people get annoyed with the push to say Happy Holidays, which I don't. Some people are just going to say Happy Holidays. Some people are just going to, wait a minute, joke's on you. Those gifts are all dildos in boxes wrapped up. Well, it could be, but at least I'm not looking at the simulated penis or simulated, vaginal cavity. It's a box, not to be confused with box. But so anyway, it's fine if it's in a box and I don't see it. And in this one, let's see, those are just Happy Holidays, and I've got to go slowly to make sure I won't get the wrong thing on the screen. Now this one's cute. Okay, look at that, from something SGDT trying to sell you something. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, apparently the people who were wrongfully detained in Venezuela are now safely back in the United States. Welcome home. That's from Jake Sullivan. Happy holidays to them. Of course, this is funny. Welcome home and happy holidays. One more diplomatic accomplishment for the Biden administration. Okay, I give him credit for getting these people back, but can you name some others? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, you got one. So anyway, I'm gonna scroll away or move away from this just in case I scroll to see something else, which I don't want to see. How long will it take for me to find something I would object to putting on my screen? And I have, oh, there's one, a furry with a simulated furry penis. Okay, that's why I don't keep the screen. That's why I don't keep the screen open whenever I do this. Okay. Now, there's another thing trending right now, and when I saw it, I thought, oh, does this have something to do with Trump? It's a hashtag Survivor45. And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, Trump's kind of Survivor, whatnot. No, this is about the TV show Survivor. Did you know that there were 45 seasons of Survivor? I mean, is Survivor really that old? Is it, or is it that, or do they have like 2 or 3 seasons a year of Survivor? Does anyone watch this show? Hello, Donkey Punch Bandit. Nice to see you. I have no idea. I have no idea. And also, good morning, Selected Boy.
Yeah, boy.
45 seasons of Survivor? They do 2 seasons a year. Okay, so Survivor's been around for like 20 some years. Okay, I'm like, are you kidding me? Has that show been on that long? Am I that freaking old? I mean, yes, I am that old, but the idea that there would be 45 seasons of Survivors kind of freaked me out. But I think this should be a Survivor 45 should be a name for Donald Trump. That's what I thought. But anyway, so that was interesting. Good morning, James Colley. What's up? Woohoo, furry peen. Yeah, I'm not showing any furry. Even if it's simulated furry peen, I'm not putting it on the screen. All right. Yeah, I know I should not tread into furry territory. Oh, Blue-Eyed Scream's here too. How you doing this morning? Good morning. Nice to see you. And okay, so next, now let's get into things that are trendy that I actually give two crap. Oh, wait. Oh, the other one too? Now this one kind of annoyed me this morning. The phrase R.I.P. Don was trending this morning. Now, I don't know. I haven't quite figured out why it was trending, but of course, when you see R.I.P. Don, as in rest in peace Don, you know that the deranged group of people who are absolutely deranged about the 45th president of the United States were all hoping that it was, you know which Don, the guy with the funny hair, right? And so no one's not. I have no idea why it's trending. Did Don Johnson die? No. Did a mafia member die? No. Bongino? Oh, that's Bongiorno. So these R.I.P. Don posters letting Trump live free in their heads is funny as fuck. Yes, because people are down here, and I'm gonna just go scroll through it slowly, and I make sure I don't put any boobs and butts on the screen. I saw rest in peace Don trending and was disappointed. Wow, you're disappointed that a human being didn't die. Hello, Attack Alpaca and Canada Hotep's in the house. And Attack Alpaca. I didn't mean to sound excited for one and not excited for the other, because I'm excited to have both of y'all here. But rest in peace Don was trending, and I was disappointed. Here's another one. When rest in peace Don is trending and it's not what you thought. Oh, the sadness. All right, who made this rest in peace Don? Someone showing Don in a coffin and everyone's smiling. I I don't know why Rest in Peace Don is trending, but I'm all for it. Oh, so you want him dead? When Rest in Peace Don is trending with no explanation. This is actually funny. When Rest in Peace Don is trending with no explanation, not everyone's like, "What? Say what? Huh? What?" That one's actually funny. I saw Rest in Peace Don, and I thought, there's always hope for the future. Wow. Talking about rent free. Talking about rent free. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. The people that would have to think that it was like this. When someone says Rest in Peace Don, I don't think that they mean that they want me dead, because if I was dead, I would be the most beautiful dead. I mean, it would be the most glorious. I would be ascending into heaven, and dead would be just, it would be the greatest thing. Everyone would want to be more dead like me. No, that's not what it was. And I still haven't figured out what it really was for, because once it started trending, everyone made it about Donald Trump. When you opening Twitter, you see Rest in Peace Don trending, but you realize Christmas miracles only happen in Hallmark. I mean, this is the kind of bullshit people are posting. I mean, these people really want him dead. Hello, Renee Miette. Evan S., what's up? Wrong Don is what all the Asian ladies are after. So, there's a lot of sick fucks in the world. Again, people celebrating Rest in Peace Don and disappointing the wrong Don is dead are vile humans who wishes death on people. Low-rent leftist Democrats, not an ounce of humanity left in this country. Sorry to disappoint, but Donald Trump is alive and well. So anyway, and now all the posts are about Donald Trump, and I don't know what Don actually died. I have no idea, because everyone's mourning the fact that Donald Trump didn't die. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Reading the Trump-related responses to Rest in Peace Don trend, we are reminded the left are unhinged psychopaths. Stop pretending we can coexist with them. They are evil, mentally ill miscreants that hate society, hate you, and even hate themselves. Actually, Rest in Peace Don list is making my block list longer. What sick mind these people have. So it's just non-stop on that particular trend. All right, moving on. So now about everything else trending right now has to do with Colorado. So we'll do a few more reactions to the Colorado ruling. And we'll start with let's start with Bill Barr. Bill Barr, the former Attorney General of the United States, who, is not a fan of his former boss by any stretch of the imagination, and in fact is very critical of his former boss. But he criticized the Colorado Supreme Court decision ruling, calling it legally wrong and untenable. Just did Gateway Pundit put here? Let's see how long this clip is. I'm not going to do 10 minutes, but let's just read the article here. Backstabbing former Attorney General Bill Barr has criticized the Colorado Supreme Court's decision to disqualify former President Donald Trump from appearing on a state ballot. Barr, a known critic of Trump, labeled the ruling a procedural Frankenstein and argued that the finding lacks legal credibility and constitutional backing. The Colorado, we know what. In discussing I'm skipping a couple paragraphs because I only want to give you the key points here. In discussing this with CNN's Jake Tapper, Barr acknowledged his opposition to Trump's nomination, but argued that the Colorado case is legally flawed. He believes that such aggressive legal strategies against Trump could backfire, fueling his narrative of grievance. Oh, you think that the former president, who is clearly being persecuted by anyone on any Democrat institution in this country, you think that it gives him more fuel to prove the fact that they're just after him, they're just trying to destroy him? Oh wow, good, Bill. At least you have a modicum of common sense. Good for you. Here's the thing, Darren. I see you say write-in, but the problem with write-in, the Colorado Supreme Court says he's not eligible to be president of the United States. That's their ruling. So even if you wrote him in, you wouldn't be able to use the write-in votes for him. That's the crazy thing about it. They're saying he's not eligible. So an eligible person cannot win the primary. That's how far they went with this. Also, good morning, Jason Who. What's up? Remember when Trump found out about Ginsburg and he was classy about it? Why am I still surprised by Democrat hypocrisy? You can't be surprised by Democrat hypocrisy. It is expected. So anyway, he said he thinks the case is legally wrong and untenable. Tapper highlighted the district court's finding that Trump incited violence at the Capitol. However, Barr contested the court's capacity to make such determinations without due process, denying Trump a fair chance to challenge the allegations. Barr highlighted the absence of a jury, limited subpoena power, and reliance on hearsay from the January 6th committee hearings. Yeah, they made a determination based on nothing, but without any testimony, nothing that he was engaged in insurrection. Also, insurrection would be a federal charge. A state court cannot make a determination of a federal charge. And there was no insurrection. And I'm going to get to that. That's the part that drives me insane. It was not a fucking insurrection. Okay, I swore now, so the floodgates are open. Look out. And so Barr's like, I disagree with the court's ability to make those findings. The core problem here is the denial of due process. To deprive somebody of the right to hold public office requires due process. It requires an adjudication of the two core issues. Yes, because a lot of people are saying, well, the 14th Amendment doesn't say anything that you have to be convicted of insurrection. You just have to participate in insurrection. Well, there's a whole nother part of the Constitution that talks about due process. And if you take away the rights of an American citizen, you have to have due process to do that. That has not been done in this case. I'm tired of people. There's all kinds of people over the internet saying, well, they don't have to convict him of insurrection. You just have to participate in one. Well, how do you define insurrection? And how do you determine if someone participated in an insurrection if you have not put them through a trial to determine that they were in an insurrection? I could say that Joe Biden is participating in an insurrection to this very day by not enforcing American immigration laws. And so in my state, we're going to vote to take Joseph Rahim Biden off the 2024 ballot because he is participating in insurrection. I determine that because I'm a judge and I say so with, a majority of the rest of my Supreme Court. Is that sufficient to remove Joe Biden from the ballot? No. First of all, my state court can't determine insurrection because it's a federal charge. And under the Constitution, there needs to be due process. I can't just say it because we've read some book that said Joe Biden is engaging in insurrection because of the southern border. And that's basically what they did. They took findings from a January 6th committee that had no teeth as far as in the law. All they did was put out a stupid report. There were no witnesses. There were no discovery. There was nothing and to convict Donald Trump of anything related to insurrection. Now, also, there's a whole other issue of how it was the 14th Amendment that part of the 14th Amendment came about because of the Civil War. People who actually took up arms against the United States of America. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole piece of the puzzle that's missing. Did the January 6th protest, was that an attempt to take over the United States of America? Was that the attempt to fight or, take up arms against the United States of America? Or was it just a protest that went bad? I would say it was the latter. In fact, was the purpose of the rally to take over the United States of America. It wasn't even to overturn an election. That's the other part. They say, oh, they tried to steal an election. They tried to overturn an election. Did they? What was the purpose of the rally? Oh, to pause the vote in Congress. So why? Why did they want to pause that vote in Congress? The electors' vote. Why did they want to postpone that? Oh, because they were trying to find legal remedies to determine if some of those states had some shenanigans going on, or were they going to try to stall Donald Trump that day? See, that's the whole other part that is missing. That all these people saying, "Oh, they tried to destroy democracy." Really? Because I thought the purpose of postponing that vote was to make sure that the person they were going to install, 15 days later, was actually the correct person. Now, whether or not you believe that they were wrong or right in that, is that an insurrection? If you're trying to ensure that the votes are correct before you have the transfer of power, or at least the transfer of one presidential session to another. That doesn't sound like an insurrection. Now, did it turn into a riot because the police started shooting, flashbangs and rubber bullets into the crowd, and the crowd started fighting with them, and the people who were there before Donald Trump even finished speaking went through some barricades they weren't supposed to, and changed the path of where the people who were supposed to be coming from the lips ended up going? Because remember, they did have a space reserved at the Capitol to continue their rally and to make their, what did Trump say? Make your voices heard. So there's a whole lot going on in this whole thing, but it certainly there was no insurrection. An insurrection, really? Did they take up arms against them, or did they use whatever they had when the police started firing rubber bullets and hitting them with batons? And so the people fighting with the police, were they attacking the police, or were they protecting themselves? That's another question too. But that's a whole nother that's a whole nother issue when it comes to what footage did you always see when the media played it, or when the January 6th committee played it. Oh, you only saw the scenes of the people fighting with the police. Did you see how that started, or did you only see it once it was in full swing? So there's a whole lot going on. Good morning, Lord Stanhope, by the way. So anyway, Bill Barr, let me see what else he says here. There was no right to cross-examine during those hearings and so forth, and the dissent said, and by the way, the 3 Democratic justices who dissented, their opinions, I think, are masterful. And as they pointed out, they said the process here was a procedural Frankenstein. Barr predicts that the U.S. Supreme Court chooses to address the Colorado Supreme Court ruling, it would likely overturn the decision quickly. His criticism points to a fundamental denial of due process and a mishandling of the 14th Amendment, which, according to Barr, requires federal enforcement rather than ad hoc state proceedings. And it is not ad hoc. I had a professor in college in my persuasion class. I had an entire course on persuasion. And he was always talking about ad hoc committees. And he would say, it is not ad hoc. It's ad hoc. Anyway. He said, I think if they'll take a time, they're going to slap it down very quickly. I hope they do take it up quickly and slap it down, because otherwise he can be left off the ballot in this primary. So if I'm hearing, and Tapper's like, so if I'm hearing you correctly, you're not even saying that you disagree necessarily with what the district court and then the Colorado Supreme Court found in terms of insurrection. You just think it's the wrong process. See, because CNN especially, CNN coined the phrase insurrection. And CNN is very, very invested on that word. And obviously MSNBC and all the other, Democratic mouthpiece news media is very caught up on that word. And so that's the hilarious part. So Jake Tappers really wants to make sure that, well, you don't want to say that he didn't engage in insurrection, do you? Yes, I do, because there was no insurrection, first of all. And so there's no insurrection for him to engage in. There was no planned attack on the Capitol. It was a protest, and some of it went bad, period. You're all lying through your freaking teeth. And in fact, I've never heard of an insurrection. If it was an insurrection, why did they stop and go home? Why did Trump, on multiple occasions, which the media doesn't seem to notice, even when you point it out to them, why did he say no violence? Why did he say peacefully? Why did he tell them to go home and stop? And even before, as soon as he figured out there was violence, he did a video, he did tweets. Oh wait, Twitter took his tweets down that day. Why did they take the tweets down where he told them to no violence? The people in blue are, good Americans. Breaking news, Prague shooting, at least 11 dead in Prague shooting, including gunmen. Emergency services say Prague, Czechoslovakia. I was there, man. I love Prague. It's a beautiful city. That's not good. We'll see if we can find that a little bit later too. Thank you, Gun Fox. So this is crazy. So Bill Barr thinks it'll be, and honestly, it needs to be knocked down 9-0. And I swear to gosh, it's going to be 8-1, because if there is one person on that court who doesn't care about the actual Constitution, it's Ketanji Jackson. Brown Jackson. I always want to say Jackson Brown. Running low, running on empty, like her brain, running blind. So anyway, Colorado is on the minds of people, and it's one of the biggest topics on Twitter right now. Let's see. Vernon Jones. Hugh Hewitt destroyed Jessica Tarloff for her idiot comments supporting fellow idiots of the Colorado Supreme Court. Let's watch this one. Let's watch this one. I want to hear this. We might be doing some extra video today. Let's go full screen, please. Thank you. All right, here we go. Let's see Hugh Hewitt versus Jennifer Tarloff.
Jason, really quickly though, 2 points on that.
Oh, she sounds terrible.
This case was brought by a group of Republicans. It was not.
Doesn't
brought
matter.
by Democrats. This doesn't have to do with leftist politics.
Doesn't matter.
And Donald Trump is the only person running for president who challenged our Constitution. Wait, what? He challenged our Constitution? How did he challenge our Constitution? He challenged the election based on certain things that he thought were wrong. Is that, you can't challenge an election? I'm sorry, can you tell Al Gore and John Kerry that? Can you tell, who was it? Can you tell Richard Nixon that in 1960? Give me a break. The one who said actually this election should not stand and asked Mike Pence to, quote, do the right thing. That is not something that a Democrat ever did.
Jessica, this is the worst legal thing I've ever heard. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd for a non-lawyer to sit here and say that minus a confrontation with someone who has not been charged, much less convicted, that the court can take them off the ballot. It is a shameful moment in American jurisprudence. It is like watching a bad high school musical. It is a cringe-inducing moment for anyone who's ever taught the law, practiced the law, and Colorado will be scorned for decades because of this, and it will be reversed by the court very, very quickly.
And quickly, Hugh, do you think it's 9-0? Do you think that the liberal justices on the Supreme Court can get around?
Only one.
I think it's 9-0 because if Justice Brown Jackson or Justice Sotomayor throws in with the pirates in Colorado, their reputations will be as damaged as the Colorado justices' reputations are. It is an absurd decision.
All right, so I thought that would be even better than it was, but that was not bad. Sorry, that was really quiet, wasn't it? All right. Oh, did Colorado start the Civil War movie in real life? That's interesting. I didn't show you the Civil War trailer. There's of course there's a movie about Civil War coming out. All right, moving on because there's a whole bunch of other topics I can get to here. Other things trending. SCOTUS is trending again related to this Colorado decision. Let me see if I can find at least one good wing. Oh, here's one. Here's some breaking news. The Trump team has filed a response with the Supreme Court in relation to the motion by Jack Smith's team. Jack Smith pushing to bypass the appeals court and rush to SCOTUS so the decision can be made before the election. Once again, it's clear now that the only intention of the DOJ is to keep Trump from becoming president again. They're so afraid of him in D.C. because they know he'll shut down the corruption they've been running. How much longer are we supposed to put up with this? Okay, that's related to the January 6th case that they're trying to fast track. Here's the dumbest. Is this Ted Lieu? I had a Ted Lieu tweet here. Let's go to Ted Lieu because he's an idiot. And so the Citizen for Ethics, which is CREW, one of the plaintiffs in the Colorado case, said the Colorado Supreme Court affirmed that the Constitution means what it says. Anyone, including the president, who engaged in insurrection after taking an oath to support the Constitution is barred from holding office again. Okay. And they linked to some Politico article. Oh, Parody Bear, what's up? Nice to see you. And TC's in the house. Nice to see you get back again. Now, Ted Lieu decides to say the Colorado trial court held a trial and made rock solid findings of fact that Trump engaged in insurrection. SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, would not have any basis to overrule the findings. The only way the Supreme Court of the United States can overturn is to make the perverse ruling that presidents can engage in insurrection. This tells me how stupid Congressman Ted Lieu is. He is a dumbass. The idea that a state court can even make the determination of the federal charge of an insurrection without a criminal conviction of the person being accused of it, or without an act of Congress claiming that, and I mean the entire Congress, not the January 6th subcommittee of anti-Trump fucktards. I'm talking about an act of Congress claiming that the president engaged in insurrection. A state court cannot determine that. And in this case, this is what the state court is saying they did. That because based on the preponderance of an evidence, again, you are taking away the rights of a United States citizen. The only way you can do that is if they committed a criminal act. But this was a civil case determining whether one could be on the ballot. There has been no criminal conviction or determination of the citizen that you're taking away their rights. You can't take away someone's rights in a civil action. You cannot do that. And so, no, Ted Lieu is just stupid. I'm not even a lawyer, and I know that. Hello, Cannibalistic Wizard. So, what a dumbass. And so people responding to him, the complete overstepping of constitutional authority by Colorado is the exact basis they will overrule the findings, to which Ted Lieu says they can't make the findings because the 14th Amendment specifically grants this authority. Read it. Hey, dumbass, you're missing the part where you are making a criminal conviction without due process. And people keep trying to explain that to him. You and Adam Schiff are really committed to a lie, aren't you? We weren't part of the trial the Colorado judge held. The findings of fact from the trial are rock solid. Read the ruling. No, they're not rock solid. They're not rock solid. Were there any witnesses in that part of the case? You can't make that determination without a trial. That wasn't a trial of those findings of facts. The only facts they used was the January 6th committee, which was a one-sided, lopsided pile of crap. So, may I ask you the question, Ted? For them to make this ruling, shouldn't Trump have been criminally charged with and convicted of insurrection? What am I missing? Couldn't the Republicans just ask to have Joe Biden removed from the ballot in states for bribes that if they should be? Yeah, here's the thing. This would be like a state court would take all the information from the subcommittee that is investigating Joe Biden right now, saying that he took bribes and things like that, and making that determination that he committed fraud and whatever against the United States of America and wouldn't be eligible on the ballot in that state, without ever going through a trial, saying that, okay, well, this state has determined that he has committed these, bribes and whatever on behalf of from his son, without ever actually going through a court case. You see what I'm saying? This is insane. So lots of people responded to Ted Lieu, and Ted Lieu's just entrenched in his bullshit. And there was, let's see, what was the next one here? Somebody, one of the better responses to him was, did I do it twice? I must have hit him twice. I did. Well, my response was pretty good, but I can't find it. I'm not going to look for it. But anyway, oh my God. It's incredibly stupid. Dang, 42 people and only 20 likes. Oh, there are 42 people here? Well, fan-freaking-tastic. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the show, especially if you've never been here. In fact, if you've never been... Okay, here, I need you to do something. If you have never been here before, but you're watching right now, please just put something in the chat. That if you've never watched, this is the first time you've ever come to this show, I'd appreciate if you just put hi something in the chat or hi to somebody else or whatever. But Zed the Starkey's in the house, I see, sir, and Critical Lindsay, nice to have you back. All right, back to, let's see, next. Why do I have Dana Sharp here? What was it Dana Sharp said? Still doing Twitter stuff. Oh, yes. See, by the way, when you are participating or even leading an insurrection, if you are directing your minions to have an insurrection at the Capitol of the United States, this is the kind of tweet that you would tweet during that particular event. Yes, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. That was on January 6th, 2021, that Trump tweeted this. Is that encouraging people to have an insurrection? I don't think so. Hello, those ain't real, dude. Nice to see you. So, oh man, it's insane. That is one of, by the way, this is one of the tweets that Twitter took down. Remember, they took down Donald Trump's account that day after he had done a couple things. He made this tweet. He did a video on Twitter that said, people go home, we love you, this and that, but we can't have this violence at the Capitol. You need to go home. All the tweets that he did, there were like 3 or 4 of them, and they took all his tweets down, so he couldn't tweet anymore that day. So, and then when they restored his account, oh, there's all those tweets. Goodness gracious. So the idea that he was leading an insurrection, gee, I wonder if the Colorado Supreme Court saw this tweet. I doubt it, because they only saw what the January 6th committee put out, which was a very, very heavily edited selection of video from the Capitol, minus 45,000 hours of video. So, it's interesting that they're saying it was an insurrection. So, also trading Constitution. Lots of people are talking about the Constitution today, which maybe that's a good thing that people get to talk about the Constitution when this kind of shit happens. Let's see. Incidentally, let's see here. The Supreme Court. Oh. So Nick Field was saying courts shouldn't decide who the president is. is quite the argument for Republicans to make. And he put up this New York Times article on the Bush-Gore thing where the Supreme Court said 5-4 to end the recounting, right? And so a lot of people replying to this, the Supreme Court did not decide who was president. The Supreme Court said Florida had to follow the Constitution on election standards, and its left-wing Supreme Court was trying to upend Bush's small but crucial Florida win. And Democrats never want to follow election laws anyway, which is true. So anyway, that's a stupid thing. Also trending, let's see. Oh, this is the other thing too. Now, I use this on purpose as my thumbnail today. So Tom Fitton said, fact check, there was no insurrection on January 6th. And what you get whenever you say something like this, they'll start showing pictures and video of the worst parts of that day. For example, this picture. Now, it's fascinating that they use this picture, okay? And let me tell you why. Because this picture, which I used in my thumbnail today, this picture took place before some of the protesters that day began fighting with the line of police. They use this picture, and in fact, it's also, there's one that I can't remember which, it was a Washington Post maybe used, where this is when all the people were just rallying there in the front, right? And there were some people who climbed up and onto the upper level and whatnot, but no one was really fighting with the police at this time, right? And all of a sudden, the Capitol Police start shooting flashbangs into the crowd. The smoke that you're seeing here, it's not buildings being set on fire. It's not anyone in the crowd throwing hand grenades or setting off explosives. They're not looting stores. They're not burning down buildings. This is smoke from the flashbangs that the Capitol Police shot into the crowd while they were still being peaceful. And that is when many in the crowd took great offense to the Capitol Police, because flashbangs and rubber bullets were flying into the crowd during the peaceful time. And there is some of the new video footage, you can see this happening. And I remember seeing this happening in real time because I was watching it on my computer that day. Ray Epps, anyway. Yeah, where's Ray Epps? Where's Ray Epps in that photo? I bet he's in that photo. I bet that's his hat right there. So when they use photos like this, they're deliberately trying to make it look like that this smoke had something to do with the people who were there protesting. It did not. This is from the flashbang. So that's a hilarious photo. I see, and someone right here said, I see smoke from smoke grenades thrown by police and some flags. Yes, you usually see scenes like this at Disney World and other places where tourists. No, dude. You know you're lying. That's why you made that comment, because you have no rebuttal for that. So it was, it's fascinating that they were starting to use. They always use that as their go-to. Well, this wasn't. It was a insurrection. No, it's not. Ron Filipowski is putting a Boebert clip. I am deeply ashamed of the Colorado Supreme Court for putting politics ahead of the Constitution. Their entire case is built off lies and personal vendettas. She's right. Ron doesn't. It's funny. He thinks that she's sounding crazy when she's 100% right. He's 100% right. Oh my God. And this is someone named Harf. It is curious how Republicans pledge such fidelity to the Constitution, except when it's inconvenient for their candidate, who we all saw with our own eyes encourage rioters to attack the Capitol. And then she says, Republicans had no problem with the courts deciding the election in 2000. Okay, I have a question for people who believe this. How exactly did the president encourage rioters to attack the Capitol. Is she naked? Oh, I don't know. She's not naked. I see what you're saying. Here she is again. Let's.
Well, look, I think the bigger threat to democracy is what Donald Trump did, which was trying to overturn an election.
So you're not going to answer my question.
I think President Biden is right. I was about to, Harris. I think President Biden is right not to weigh in on the court cases. The Supreme Court will undoubtedly take this up. It's a pretty right-wing activist court. I think they will
It'll be
rule
9-0
in Donald Trump's favor. But it is curious to me how Republicans pledge such fidelity to the Constitution, except when it's inconvenient for their candidate, who we all saw with our own eyes, encouraged rioters to attack the Capitol.
Absolute lie.
Republicans had no problem
Absolute lie. That is absolutely a lie. Wait.
In an election in 2000, and voters of all parties, Democrats, Republicans should be concerned, regardless of the legal case, Harris.
So Maria,
okay, hang on. I need to stop this. Let's go back to where's the tweet? Where is the tweet? Is this it right here? How convenient that I have this handy. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to copy the link to that tweet, and I'm going to post this under as a reply. Let's reply to this dipshit because he thinks it's a good argument too. Say what? There we go. I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. We respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. Isn't that funny? Oh my gosh, some people's children. So anyway, that's under Constitution. Let's also trending. Oh wait, and this is someone else too. So here's a good example of the just completely utter chaos that was happening inside the Capitol building once they got in. Now this guy says, Righteous Crusader says, what makes the Colorado court decision even more absurd is that not only has Trump not been found guilty of insurrection, there was no insurrection to begin with. There no doubt was pushing and shoving, swinging flagpoles, broken windows, and bad behavior outside. But to substantiate your claim of an insurrection and an attempt to take over government, you have to use the evidence that supports your claim once they got inside, and it was nothing of a sort. No threats, no hostages, no demands, just people walking around like they were at a museum. And I will add, they left. They weren't even forced to leave. They just left after a while. Now, if this was an insurrection or attempt to take over the government, why would they just leave without any incidents? No one was, other than Ashley Babbitt being shot dead. But certainly none by the people. Oh, they did mess up a couple offices. Okay, as if, but did they burn the Capitol building down? No, they didn't. Boy, there's a whole entire Lake Street in Minneapolis that, from about Henneman Avenue to like Chicago, if you don't know Minneapolis, that the majority of the street was burned down. So yeah, that doesn't make any sense. What is this? We need more video from J6 event. It was not an insurrection. Here's another one. This guy.
Why are you letting this happen? Why haven't you called for backup? Where is your backup? This is our damn Capitol building, and y'all are letting it get destroyed on your watch.
They would just let it happen.
Fuck all of you.
They just let it happen.
Backup. Get some help down here. And if they don't want to give you fucking backup, they obviously don't give a shit about you. Why are you letting this happen?
Now, notice too, though. Do you notice something in the background of this? I'm going to go back to the beginning of this. So, there's some people over here breaking windows, right? About a handful of people. They're trying to get in. Okay, this is mostly before the entire crowd got there too. Notice the other people, though. What are the other people in the background of this doing?
Why are you letting this happen? Why haven't you called for backup?
Are they attacking police? Are they doing anything other than waving flags, looking around? Look at these guys. They're just...
Fuck all of you. Call for backup. Get some help down here.
Yeah, why is...
And if they don't want to give you fucking backup, they obviously don't give a shit about you.
Wow, that's not like, doesn't even seem like the Capitol Police were even trying to do anything, does it? Unbelievable. Other things trending. 14th Amendment is trending again, talking about what the Colorado Supreme Court tried to use to justify this. Someone here said, I think states should remove Joe Biden from the ballot based on the 14th Amendment, Section 3, for violating this provision, giving aid and comfort to enemies thereof. Billions to Iran, an open border is giving aid and comfort to our enemies. What's good for the goose? Well, I don't think that should be done, but I understand the sentiment. Now, and again, here's the stupid argument from this guy named Tim Cool. Now, Tim Callahan is a big-time Ron DeSantis supporter, which I find. You don't like Trump, then that's your prerogative. But what you're saying is dumb here. He says, despite what people on X say, the 14th Amendment, Section 3, does not require a conviction for insurrection. It's been used many times after its passing without trial or conviction. Has it now? Are you talking about the people from the Civil War? That's pretty specific, right? When it was used. He says also, it is self-executing, does not require Congress to pass a law. This is made apparent by the fact that Section 3 has a built-in reversal mechanism, votes of 2/3 of Congress. Here's the problem, though, Tim Cool, to Callahan. Again, I'm going to say it. There's another part of the section of the Constitution that if you're going to take away a person's rights in the United States of America, there must be due process. No due process on the insurrection part of this ruling. Victor Davis Hanson, the Colorado insurrection. Donald Trump is being erased from the Colorado primary and general ballot by warping the 14th Amendment and in a way never envisioned by its creators. So now one can be guilty by fiat of Confederacy-like insurrection when he has never been charged with, much less convicted of such a crime. How can such a buffoonish January 6th riot become an insurrection when no one was armed? There was no plan to seize power. The protesters were advised by the purported insurrectionist leader to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. As far as election insurrectionary interference, why did the liberal journalist Molly Ball label the left-wing effort to defeat Donald Trump in the 2020 election a cabal, e.g., that's why the participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told, even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream of a well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions and change rules and laws, steer media coverage, and control the flow of information. And why did Ball double down and further call it a conspiracy? Quote, there was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEOs, both surprises or the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans of CEOs, Silicon Valley billionaires, street protesters. Their work touched every aspect of the election. They got states to change voting. Okay, he's continuing here. They got states to change voting systems, and laws helped secure the hundreds of millions in public and private funding. They fended off voter suppression lawsuits, recruited armies of poll workers, and got millions of people to vote by mail for the first time. They successfully pressured social media companies to take harder line against disinformation and used data-driven strategies to fight viral smears. So this is, I think, this is the Time magazine article, I think he's talking about. So as far as efforts to nullify the popular vote, do we remember the pathetic 2016 ensemble of C-list Hollywood celebrities? Martin Sheen, Deborah Messing, James Cromwell, B.D. Wong, Noah Wiley, Frida Payne, Bob Odenkirk, J. Smith Cameron, Michael Urie, Moby, Mike Farrell, Loretta Swit, Christy Lottie, Steve Pasquale, and Dominic Fumosa, and Emily Tyra. Remember they wanted the Electoral College to change their votes away from Trump, to not allow him to become the president. They were drafted by left-wing groups to cut commercials urging the electors to reject their constitutional duties of reflecting their state's popular votes and instead, as faithless electors, to vote instead for Hillary Clinton, the loser in the respective states' popular votes. How did they rationalize that anti-constitutional gambit? Well, remember Martin Sheen's shameless sophistry to ignore the Constitution and the election results? Quote, "As you know, our founding fathers built the Electoral College to safeguard the American people from the dangers of a demagogue and to ensure that the presidency only goes to someone who has an eminent degree endowed with the requisite qualifications," end quote. So what makes a high elected official an insurrectionist? Current or past advocacy for using violence against the government as represented by, say, the Supreme Court, or urging on more protests that had already turned violent, eventually leading to 35 deaths, 1,500 injured police officers, $1.2 billion in property damage, and a torched courthouse, police headquarters, and iconic church. So attempting to break into the White House grounds, sending the president into a secure underground bunker. Even so, remember, Kamala Harris's summer 2020 boast about the protests that, quote, or that she knew, contrary to fact checkers, had already had a long history of violence. She said, but they ain't gonna stop. They ain't gonna stop. This is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not gonna stop, and everyone beware, because they're not gonna stop. They're not gonna stop before Election Day in November, and they're not gonna stop after Election Day. Everyone should take note of that on both levels, that they're not gonna let up, and they should not, and we should not. So she was encouraging the violence. What was the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer intending when in 2020, he incited a throng at the very doors of the Supreme Court, warning of violence to come to two justices whom he called out by name? "I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions." Hit you? Really? Now we have ballot suppression to add to the long list of farces, hoaxes, and lies, all designed to destroy a candidate who otherwise might win popular support for an agenda the majority of Americans have consistently supported. So the left-wing Colorado justices joined the Russian collusion spectacle, the Alpha Bank's pink hoax, the Russian disinformation laptop ruse, the president breaking 2 impeachments of a president in his first term, the caper of trying an ex-president as a private citizen in the Senate, and the ploy of raiding an ex-president's house. How exactly is the left doing right now? They accept that they have no majority support for the current president or his agenda. They fear voters will elect a Republican. They are horrified that it might be Donald Trump, whom they especially loathe, and they are terrified that Trump might do to them what they would certainly do if they were in his position. The left is mightily frustrated that after controlling all sources of information, communication, and institutions, CEOs, traditional and social media, entertainment, and the internet, Silicon Valley, academia, K-12 foundations, sports, and popular culture, and having vast advantage in fundraising and money, they still cannot stop the will of the majority. And the left wages lawfare because they assume the right is either too timid, too incompetent, too preoccupied, or too principled to reciprocate in kind. And they kind of are. Especially given they gloat that there was never any consequences for all past hoaxes and ruses they perpetuated. But this time, they may have jumped the proverbial shark. I hate that phrase, and shown themselves to be the true and only insurrectionists that will face the consequences of an angry public in November 2024. So, does everyone here know what jump the shark means? I know what it means. If you don't know what jump the shark means, put a 1 in the chat and I'll explain it, or somebody can explain it to you. I really hope that they have jumped the shark, so to speak. Democracy is also trending. I'm not going to go through any of that. Civil war is trending. Oh, probably better be careful here because you never know what's going to pop up on the screen. Maybe a civil war between 2 penises. But it is trending. And of course, Tim Pool, when you say the word civil war, of course, Tim Pool is going to pop up because he's been talking about civil war for 5 years now. Yes, it did come from Happy Days. Yes. Okay. So, jumping the shark comes from an episode of Happy Days. Happy Days was a TV show in the 70s, a nostalgia show about some family living in the 50s, comedy show. And the show was, very popular for a long time. But they kind of began to run out of storylines. And they had a character called the Fonz, or Fonzie, Arthur Fonzarelli, who was this really cool guy. And late in the trajectory of Happy Days, it started getting dumb, okay? And so they decided to do an episode where Fonzie, this is back when Evel Knievel was popular, Fonzie was going to jump his motorcycle over a tank with a shark in it because, it was kind of the time of Evel Knievel and Jaws, and so sharks were really popular, and Evel Knievel jumping things with motorcycles was really possible. So this was the big episode that Fonzie's going to jump a shark. It was just stupid, and he made the jump over this giant tank with a shark in it, whatever. But that is also what was seen as the absolute downturn and end of Happy Days, where it's just, by the time you jump the shark, the show's pretty much over. And so that's where the term jump the shark comes from. Good morning, Andrew Thorsten, by the way. So that's where the term jump the shark comes from. All right. Of course, the word Civil War comes up, and here comes Tim Pool. Tim Pool looks like he has does he have a thread on this? No, it's not a thread. He just has several posts with the term Civil War. If armed men with no legal authority arrest the former president and current frontrunner, it's a coup, not a legal challenge. Democrats are not acting within the law, and they don't care. The only reason we don't explicitly say Civil War is because no one is fighting back. And he's got a Reason article here. Let's see. 10,000 illegal surging every day this month. We are already in the Civil War period. Fighting just hasn't started yet. Someone here said, let's see, why would anyone want to flood the U.S. with migrants? Oh, because the Boston City Council passes a measure to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. Isn't that special? Now, there's also an article here. The Special Counsel Jack Smith's appointment is unconstitutional. I might have that one open already. But a lot of people are making fun of MAGA people. Oh, when MAGA talks about Civil War, they really mean keyboard Civil War. And then Dusty Smith, he's a jackass, but I used to think he was okay. Some unused thumbnails from my show tonight about MAGA Civil War threats. See, he thinks that this is the typical. Oh, these are AI generated pictures. Because look, this guy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra fingers and a thumb on that hand. You know when it's AI because you just look for the hands. If the hands are all screwed up, usually it's AI. This one has, at least these have the. Oh nope, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this hand. See. Oh, now he only has 3 on this hand. It's like, I don't understand why AI cannot figure out how many fingers humans have. So if the Civil War starts, do we have to wait for the dudes on the other side to finish their soy lattes, tape up their dicks, and put their skirts on? Them fighting in high heels will be hilarious to watch. Yeah, you got to know that who has the most guns if there were a Civil War? It's certainly not. It's not the rainbow flag crowd. Although I know some gay guys are really into guns. At the gun range. Anyway, I don't care about that trending. Then let's see. President Trump is also trending, obviously. Now, breaking the last hour. This is Attorney General Andrew Bailey from what state? Of Missouri. This is breaking news. Breaking, we have filed a brief at the United States Supreme Court to halt Jack Smith's move to circumvent the appeals process in his prosecution President Trump. The DOJ's attempt to accelerate the prosecution is blatantly partisan, and SCOTUS must reject it. So this is the state of Missouri. Let's see. A petition for writ of certiorari before judgment to the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, brief of Alabama and 18 other states as amicus curiae in support of respondent Donald Trump. So 18 states have joined in on this petition. Alaska, Florida, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Interesting. Let's see. And then the full, I'll put the full brief here if you're interested. I'm not going to go through it today, but that's breaking news. Also, let's see. Nikki Haley upped her attacks on President Trump during her latest interview with the far-left Iowa Public Radio. Said the country won't survive another Trump term. I think our country can survive a lot. Laura Loomer, President Trump just released a new statement on Truth Social. He says Joe Biden is the insurrectionist because he let millions of unknown people come recklessly and unchecked through our insane open border. He's right. And Biden, let's see. That's okay. I don't care about what DeSantis says about Trump. Anyway, he's trending again because Donald Trump trends all the time, just like President Biden trends all the time. Just like lately, Vivek Ramaswamy trends all the time. Here's the brief. The brief is 22 pages long on why Jack Smith should not be able to accelerate the appeal on the civil trial. Finally, let's see. Also trending. Obviously, I'm going over time today. Kellyanne Conway's trending. Now, there's a lot of detractors of Kellyanne Conway, which is fine. But this is the one that a lot of people are posting. So we'll play this one. And this is Kellyanne Conway doing what I would say is a very, very, factually accurate description of some Democrats. Not all, but some. Hello, Cool Frogs in the house. What's up, brother? Nice to see you. Kellyanne Conway on Democrats.
Trump on those grounds, or that he's been convicted. So it is in doubt. And when you look at what I just think the Democrats wake up every morning, Emily, and they look at the calendar. The iPhone says January 6, 2021. The date never changes. And then they get an electric vehicle and go get an abortion. I just described the Democratic Party to you. That's it. That's
my God.
But it's Trump on those grounds, or that he's...
Am I wrong for playing that? Just sorry. It's just dumb, but it's funny. They get up, the calendar says January 6th. They go drink their soy latte, get in their electric vehicle, and go have an abortion. So that's their description of Democrats. So wrong. All right. Shall we get into some articles? Because there's a lot of articles, too, that I'm not even going to get through half of them. But we're going to get through as many as we can. Maybe we'll just go lightning round the whole day, because it would take me the rest of the afternoon to go through this list of articles. Let's start with this one in Breitbart. Exclusive Trump lawyer Alina Habba, Trump not shaken by the Colorado decision. He's stronger than ever. Hey, I tell you what, the more they hit him, I mean, he absorbs all their barbs and just them red eyes start glowing. Former President Donald Trump is not shaken by the 4-3 decision of the Colorado Supreme Court disqualifying from being the state's GOP primary, or from being on the state's GOP primary ballot. Trump lawyer Alina Habba told Breitbart News Daily, explaining that's just another day for him. It's another day. I mean, I would love to tell you he's shaken, but he's not. Habba said when asked about where Trump's head is after hearing the news. It's just another day. Remember, okay, here's what you got to remember. Abraham Lincoln was taken off the ballot. I think was it like 8 or 9 states? He wasn't even on the ballot in 8 or 9 states. And so it was even worse when he won. And then the Civil War starts about a year later. So there you go. So he's not shaken by this. He's not letting it bother him. New York Post, SCOTUS should rule. This is again, we saw Jonathan Turley talk about this briefly yesterday, but he has an opinion piece in the New York Post. The SCOTUS should rule unanimously that the Constitution matters more than defeating Trump at any cost. The Colorado decision to bar Donald Trump from the ballot will be overturned because it is wrong on the history and language of the 14th Amendment. Dead wrong. The question is whether the Supreme Court will speak with one voice, including the 3 liberal justices. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll bet you it's an 8-1 decision. I think either, well, someone said Sotomayor or Brown Jackson, not Jackson Brown, running low, will find some really weird way to dissent from the majority opinion, but it'll be 8-1, I'm guessing. But anyway, for years, the disqualification theory has been treated like some abstract parlor game for law professors. While Democrats called for the disqualification of 120 House members, it was treated as a fringe theory. It now has lost its charm as a legal brain teaser. As I've previously written, the disqualification of Trump is based on the use of long dormant provision in Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. After the Civil War, House members were outraged to see Alexander Stephens, the Confederate vice president, seeking to take the oath with an array of former Confederate senators and military officers. They had all previously taken the same oath and then violated it to join a secession movement that claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans. It was a true rebellion. January 6, 2021 was not. Oh, what did I just say? It was not an insurrection. That does not excuse those who committed crimes that day, but it was not an insurrection. Now, the majority on the Colorado Supreme Court adopted sweeping interpretations of every element of the decision to find that Trump not only incited an insurrection, but can be disqualified under this provision. It was not an insurrection. It does not matter that Trump has never been charged with even incitement or that he called for his supporters to go to the Capitol to protest peacefully. In finding that Trump led an actual insurrection, the 4 justices used speeches going back to 2016 to show an effort to rebel before Trump was ever president. So they dug deep into some bullshit. Anyway, yeah, I'm not going to read this. They should rule unanimously on this. And PJ Media, barring Trump from ballots is a recipe for violence. Now that's what somebody's hoping for this. This is Ben Shapiro, who wrote this for PJ Media. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court of Colorado ruled that former President Donald Trump had to be removed from the state ballot, both for primaries and the general election. They cited the 14th Amendment, Section 3 of the Constitution of the United States, which states in relevant part that candidates are ineligible for office if, quote, they shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion, end quote, against the Constitution of the United States. It's unclear whether the provision applies to presidential candidates. It's even more unclear whether such a provision is self-enforcing, meaning that any electoral official in any state can simply declare for himself whether a candidate has been an insurrectionist. That's the other part. Oh, so the state can just declare that you've been an insurrectionist? That's interesting. Nonetheless, this court said it is qualified to determine who is guilty of insurrection under the 14th Amendment without any criminal case or impeachment case. And the court says that the events of January 6th constituted an insurrection and that President Trump engaged in that insurrection. On a legal level, this is an extraordinarily strained. Section 3 was designed to prohibit those who had served in the Confederacy from holding public office in the United States. The Confederacy, as we know, was an armed rebellion against the United States that ended in the deaths of some 600,000 Americans on both sides. Trump, by contrast, made a series of legal challenges to the election, all of which were denied, and then claimed on the basis of specious legal reasoning that the vice president could simply throw out the electoral slates that had already been certified. He then called for his supporters to protest at the Capitol building, and a riot broke out. This hardly qualifies as an insurrection, let alone proving that Trump engaged in one. Trump, let us not forget, has not been charged with insurrection. He was not even convicted in his impeachment trial over January 6th. Yet, the Colorado Supreme Court says it can bar him from electoral eligibility anyway. This is, to put it mildly, unbelievably dangerous. Now, I'm reading this one because there's some things in here that I want you to hear. And it's coming from Ben Shapiro, who's just kind of wild. Ben Shapiro's not a fan of Trump either. It sets up a perverse set of incentives for both political sides. Trump can and will rightly claim that lawfare has been used to thwart the workings of democracy, that a slate of judges in any state can simply negate the will of the voters, and that President Joe Biden's own Department of Justice has been attempting to drag him into court before the election in order to stymie a shot at the presidency. All true. Meanwhile, the Colorado Supreme Court has now set up expectations for Democrats across the country that Trump can be legally barred from the presidency, and when the Supreme Court overturns that Colorado Supreme Court ruling, they will claim that the Supreme Court itself is rigged. Unless it's a 9-0 decision. It needs to be a 9-0 decision. They cannot let this even have one dissent on the Supreme Court. But I got a feeling that Justice Brown Jackson will be the dissent, because she doesn't follow necessarily the Constitution. She follows her feelings. All of which means that 2024 is going to be the most insane and ugly presidential election in American history, and that's saying a lot since 1968 and 2020 are both years that existed. Under what circumstances precisely would Democrats accept the result of a Trump election? Under what circumstances precisely would Republicans accept the results of a Biden election? The weaponization of the legal system creates an all-consuming fire, burning everything in its path. There is simply no 2024 result likely to result in anything but complete and perhaps violent chaos at this point. Guess what, though? We already know that a Trump win will spark left violence, because it already has done that. In 2016, there were buildings burning in Washington, D.C. There were riots all over the country when Trump won. Now, do you think the right will riot if Joe Biden wins again? Did anyone riot on Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2021? Did anyone riot that day? I don't think so. And that was after they had the January 6th thing going on, protest. But January 20th, 2016, we already had riots. We had riots then. Remember that? There were rallies. Madonna wanted to blow up the White House. They were all over the country. They were in Portland. They were burning. They were attacking police in Portland, breaking windows. There was looting in many major cities on January 20th, 2016. Was that an insurrection? Did anyone get charged for insurrection on those days? Probably not. Well, we know it not. Hello, Robert Banks. How you doing? The justice that doesn't know what makes a woman. Yes, exactly. She can't define a woman. Well, anyway. So yeah, that's Ben Shapiro's take. Let's move on. Daily Caller. Now they say there's a direct line between Joe Biden's deep state. Why is this not scrolling? Hang on. I'm frozen here. There we go. And getting Trump removed from Colorado's ballot. Now, I haven't seen this one yet. Oh, the left-wing legal organization behind Colorado's decision to remove former President Donald Trump from its Republican primary ballot has a direct link to the Biden administration. Now, we've been talking about this group for a lot. Citizen for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, also known as CREW. The CREW president and CEO, Noah Bookbinder, that's a dumb name, is a member of the Department of Homeland Security's Homeland Security Advisory Council, tasked with giving real-time advice to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS website says. Oh, I had no idea. He's an advisor to one of Biden's cabinet secretaries. How about that? CREW brought the Colorado case against Trump and celebrated the Colorado Supreme Court's 4-3 ruling to keep Trump off the state's GOP primary ballot. And we've shown you tweets by them. But here's their press release. Our Constitution clearly states that those who violate their oath by attacking our democracy are barred from serving in government. It has been an honor to represent the petitioners, and we look forward to ensuring that this vitally important ruling stands. So, you know how they keep saying that it was 6 Republicans who brought this suit in Colorado? Do you think Crew, which is an activist organization, do you think perhaps Crew went out Republican shopping for this? They finding some never Trump shitheads to do this? You know that's what it is. That's why I laugh. Everyone says, oh, 6 Republicans are ones who brought the suit. Really? Were they Lincoln Project cronies? Who knows? You know, it's just a stupid assertion. Yes, I can find 6 anti-Joe Biden Democrats right now. I bet I can find a shit ton of them right now, in fact. All right, moving on. And let's see. What's this? I can't remember what I had here. Unlock this for free. Just hit that. Oh, this is good. One of the dissenting judges. Oops, why is that so far over there? This should be better. Let's try that. One of the dissenting judges on the Colorado Supreme Court says Trump was denied due process, and he's like nothing I've seen in 33 years. Dissenting judges on the Colorado Supreme Court have warned the court's decision to remove Donald Trump from the state primary ballot for, quote, insurrection, end quote, risks sowing chaos throughout the country and that the 45th president did not receive a fair trial. Despite the fact every top justice in the Centennial State was appointed by a Democratic governor, there was only a 4-3 decision to remove Trump, and Chief Justice Brian Boatwright, Justice Maria Birkenkotter, and Justice Carlos Samar were dissenting. Quote, the decision to bar President Donald J. Trump, by all accounts the current leading Republican presidential candidate, and reportedly the leading overall presidential candidate from Colorado's presidential primary ballot, flies in the face of the due process doctrine, warned Justice Samar. That's one of the other justices. There was no fair trial either. He continued, expressing particular concern that Trump had never been deemed guilty of insurrection by a jury of his peers. I have been involved in the justice system for 33 years now, and what took place here doesn't resemble anything I've seen in a courtroom. Most other states don't have the election code provisions we do, and this will inevitably lead to the disqualification of President Trump from the presidential primary ballot in less than all 50 states, thereby risking chaos in our country. This can't possibly be the outcome the framers intended. So that is one of the Supreme Court justices in Colorado. In Breitbart, pollster Frank Luntz. Oh, we watched Frank Luntz yesterday. Talking about Trump is most likely to beat Biden after this Colorado thing. And do you remember how distraught he looked? He looked like he was in tears because he just sees the writing on the wall that this is doing nothing but helping Trump. National Pulse, another one. Neocon Never Trumper says lawfare and ballot bans will ensure his reelection. Again, another person saying this is a Never Trump Mediaite columnist. Isaac Shore is fuming about the latest Colorado ballot ban against President Trump, admitting such measures improve Trump's chances of ending up back in the Oval Office. You know, all the brothers in the hood are rallying around Trump right now. Oh man, he's mad. He's mad. In an op-ed, he says, "You incorrigible idiots." He starts his latest op-ed for Mediaite. In fact, I'll link that op-ed too. You are so sure that you were put on this earth to save the country from Donald Trump that you're willing to gamble it all and have the chance, and you're going to lose. The Colorado Supreme Court decision to try to kick Trump off the ballot on Tuesday was the decadent, spurious, irresponsible, inevitable, and illogical conclusion to the long-standing practices of the resistance, which for 6 years has been the former president's greatest asset. Trump couldn't just be a vain, self-serving charlatan willing to seize upon every advantage available to him. He had to be a Russian asset since the 1980s and or blackmailed fetishist with a secret video ready to drop at any moment. Let's just say he's mad. If you want to read that article in full, it is right here. The resistance is going to make Trump president again. Well, I'm okay. Good. You got me voting for him now, and I've never been a Trump guy. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to vote for him a second time. In 2 elections, not in 1. A Salvadorian immigrant who fled civil war when he was 13 may have written the roadmap for SCOTUS to overruling Colorado's ruling. Okay. Oh, that's this is one of the Supreme Court justices in the state of Colorado. He was an immigrant who fled civil war when he was 13. I did not know that. El Salvador native and Colorado Supreme Court Justice Carlos Zamora, who dissented in the unprecedented case barring President Trump from state ballot, may have written the roadmap for the Supreme Court to overturn the historic ruling. And so this is the same paragraph. The decision to bar former President Donald Trump, by all accounts, the current leading Republican presidential candidate, yada, yada, yada. So we've already read this, but he argued, here it is. In his dissent, this is important. In Zamora's dissent, he argues Congress passed a law in 1870 allowing for both civil and criminal enforcement of Section 3, though the law was repealed and replaced in 1948. The new law, 18 U.S. Code 2383, says an individual can be banned from holding office if they are charged and convicted under the law. Trump has not been charged under said statute, as pointed out by Zamora. So, all those people saying that you don't have to be convicted of insurrection, the law that was replaced in 1948 says the individual can be banned from holding office if they are charged and convicted under the law. So guess what? You do have to be convicted under the law, under criminal law, under federal criminal law. So that's pretty plain as day. Zamora's dissent therefore rests on the argument that Congress and only Congress has the authority to pass legislation enforcing Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Congress did not, in fact, do so when it enacted the 1948 criminal statute, which states only when someone is convicted under this statute can they be removed. So, there you go. Save that one in your notes. It'll be in the links today. Democratic Center says action to stop Trump. Oh, and then Chris Coons, let's listen to Chris Coons, who's a clown. Please tell me this is just a short part of the segment.
Let me get your reaction to the news out of Colorado. Donald Trump removed from the 2024 ballot by the state Supreme Court there. I'll say for now. What's your reaction to it?
It's a striking ruling. I think it is a plain reading of the text of the 14th Amendment.
Except
I'll remind you, this
that 1948 law
14th Amendment was written to prevent those who were part of the Confederacy who took up arms against the United States in our Civil
part of the
War
Confederacy
from
now?
returning to federal elected office. But there was a finding by the court in Colorado, looking at the evidence, that former President Trump participated in an insurrection. I was here on January 6th.
Really?
We had
was there a criminal trial in Colorado?
President Trump after the events of January 6th. I think it's
not convicted of that,
in my view, that he participated in an insurrection and as such should be disqualified from holding
what
federal
insurrection?
Because
Because there was no
appealed,
insurrection.
I assume, to the Supreme Court, and whether they take it up and whether or not they rule on it will play a critical role in the shape of the Republican primary electorate.
Now, I wonder, because I didn't, until I read this article, I didn't know there was a specific 1948 law that codified how it would be handled in the courts and law and how it would have to be. So, how is any Supreme Court justice going to get around this law that says an individual can be banned from holding office if they are charged and convicted under the law? Trump has not been charged under the statute, as pointed out by him. But Chris Coons is so excited that a court did this for them.
I'm confident Joe Biden will be reelected regardless of which Republican is on the ballot, but this could really shake up the Republican primary.
Do you at all think that there could be some, a risk of blowback amongst voters on this?
Oh, absolutely.
Chris Christie and Republican candidates are kind of saying essentially the same thing, which is Chris Christie especially saying, like, I don't want Donald Trump to be president, but I want voters to prevent him from being president, not some court.
Even Chris Christie, holy shit.
Governor Christie has also repeatedly publicly said that Donald Trump is not fit to hold office. So
that's not for him to determine, though. That's for the voters to determine. Chris, you dumbass.
So whether it is a court that determines he's unfit to hold office because he took up force against our Constitution.
Whoa. He took up force? How did he do that? What is he talking about? Did they assemble an army and kill all the people in Congress and take over the government? What are you talking about? This is not like some third world cool where they go in and kill everybody and start kidnapping people. He did no such thing. Oh my God, this is embarrassing.
Constitution or mobilized a mob against our Constitution.
Did he now? Mobilized a mob against our Constitution. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Man,
or because the electorate throws him out. I don't think it really matters if he's unfit to hold office. We should all be encouraged by any action that makes it less likely that he will return to the presidency.
Any action. Well, does that include snipers? Is that what you're saying, Chris? I mean, any action that would stop him from being elected? Is that by all means necessary? Is that what you're saying? That's pretty fucked up, Chris. Sorry. I don't have any respect for him whatsoever. But yeah, it's funny that they're forgetting about this 1948 law, which I hadn't seen it, but the justice in Colorado sure knew about it. Moving on to PJ Media. Oh, about that write-in idea for Trump. If the court determines him ineligible, I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to say. That's what I was thinking when I saw people saying that. No, the Colorado court says he's not eligible to be president. So even if there was a write-in candidate, campaign and he won a write-in campaign in Colorado, they wouldn't be able to certify it because the Supreme Court in Colorado said he's ineligible to be president of the United States. And I'm going to guess, let's see, the Colorado Supreme Court 4-3 decision to destroy democracy in order to save it by keeping the leading Republican candidate off the 2024 presidential ballot should be overturned by the Supreme Court if there is justice in the land. That's an iffy proposition. Remember that it was John Roberts' Supreme Court that failed to take up the case of Pennsylvania's illegally changing the voting laws in the 2020 election. Okay, so here's the underappreciated aspect of this case is the chapter of post-constitutional America. Trump's supporters will not be allowed to write him in on their ballots because the court said he was unqualified to hold office and therefore cannot be a write-in candidate. That's just it. They are saying he doesn't have the qualification to be president of the United States. It doesn't matter how many people vote for him as a write-in or not. So that's not the reason. That's not a solution. The solution is the Supreme Court actually taking this up. And it is questionable on whether or not a John Roberts court would take this up in a timely manner. That's the other part. Are they going to, do they care more about the Constitution or about their own distaste for Donald Trump? Because I'm pretty sure most of the judges, at least a majority, have a distaste for Donald Trump. Maybe even a couple of the ones he appointed. So that's interesting. Daily Pulse, California Democrats now are conspiring to remove Trump from the 2024 ballot. In fact, it's not just California. This is the Daily National Pulse because they're talking about it now. Let's see. California Lieutenant Governor writes the Secretary of State, Shirley Weaver, to explore every legal option to remove former President Donald Trump from California's 2024 presidential ballot. And she sent out this letter, which we can find here on X. Let's look at that instead of reading the article. So this is to the Honorable Shirley. Oh, this is to the Honorable Shirley N. Weber, California Secretary of State. Based on the Colorado Supreme Court's ruling in Anderson versus Griswold, I urge you to explore every legal option to remove former President Donald Trump from California's 2024 presidential ballot. Again, a lot of these states are going to go, oh, Colorado did it. We're going to try this bullshit too. Says, I am prompted by the Colorado Supreme Court's recent ruling that former President Donald Trump is ineligible to appear in a state's ballot as a presidential candidate due to his role in inciting an insurrection in the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. This decision is about honoring the rule of law in our country and protecting the fundamental pillars of our democracy. Specifically, the Colorado Supreme Court held in Anderson that Trump's insurrection disqualifies him under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to stand for presidential reelection. Because the candidate is ineligible, the court ruled it would be a wrongful act for the Colorado Secretary of State to list him as a candidate. So they're trying to do this. I'm not going to read the rest of this. It's in the article and in the tweet. And they're not the only state doing it. Also, Maine is exploring options to remove Trump from the ballot. Let's see, Colorado Supreme Court. Okay, we know that. On Wednesday, Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows was reported to be seeking options on whether or not to exclude Trump from the state's primary ballots in March. Last week, for instance, the attorney seeking to bar Trump from the ballot argued with Trump's legal team at a state house hearing. The challengers have the burden of providing sufficient evidence to invalidate the petition, Bellows' office said in a statement last week. At the hearing, there will be an opportunity for both the challengers and the candidate to present oral testimony of witnesses as well as an additional documentary evidence to make oral argument pertaining to the challenge in light of that evidence. The complaint filed in Maine claims that former President Trump engaged in insurrection on January 6th and is now not eligible to hold any office, civil or military, under the United States. Trump is not eligible to hold the office of President of the United States. His declaration is false, and his consent and primary petitions are void. So they're doing this in California and Maine, and they'll probably try it in other states, and we'll see what happens. I think the court needs to absolutely get on this, because you can't have a bunch of states making decisions that they are not have no basis for doing. Now, other Colorado news. Apparently, we're getting away from this now, finally. Son of an Afghan migrant arrested in Colorado, charged with trying to join ISIS, according to a report. Probably got in through the pass there down in Texas. Son of African migrants was arrested by federal law enforcement officials this week for allegedly trying to board a flight to the Middle East so he could join Islamic State, a designated terrorist foreign organization. Hamza Mashkur, 18, from Colorado, was arrested on Monday at Denver International Airport before he was able to get on a flight headed to the United Arab Emirates, where he intended to stay until he continued to either Afghanistan or Syria to serve as a fighter for ISIS, according to the Justice Department. So, we'll see where that goes. He's not convicted yet, so we'll see what happens. In Breitbart, Jack Smith special this is a former attorney general is saying that the Jack Smith special counsel appointment is unconstitutional. And that's also an article, I think someone else wrote an article on that. Jack Smith's appointment to special counsel is unconstitutional, and so the Supreme Court must reject his petition against Trump. Lawyers representing former Attorney General Ed Meese and two top constitutional scholars in the country argued in a brief filed on Wednesday. We'll leave a copy of that open. Their amicus, or friend of the court brief, argues that Smith lacks the authority to represent the United States by asking the Supreme Court to weigh in, called a petition of certiorari, because the office he holds has not been created by Congress and his appointment violates the Appointments Clause of the Constitution. The filing essentially claims U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland improperly appointed Smith to an office that does not exist with authority Garland does not possess. Meese, Steve Calabrese, the co-chairman of the Federalist Society, and Gary Lawson, a prominent constitutional law professor, first argued that only Congress can create federal offices such as Smith currently holds, which Congress has not done. While the Constitution creates the offices of president and vice president, Congress has the sole authority to create additional offices because the Constitution says those offices must be established by law. Congress previously passed a law to authorize a similar position called an independent counsel, but that statute expired in 1999. Oh, that could be interesting. I'm wondering, because if that statute expired and was never renewed, Garland cannot hire a mere employee to perform the task that Congress has not authorized. The attorney's right. Only an officer can hold such a significant level of authority. In creating the Department of Justice, Congress gave it certain powers by law, yet it authorized no office with all the powers of a U.S. attorney that Garland has given Smith. The amicus brief further argues, even if someone thinks that existing statutes authorize appointment of standalone special counsels with full power of the U.S. attorney, Smith was not properly appointed to such office. They assert even if special counsels were authorized by Congress, anyone in possession of such powers would require presidential nomination and Senate confirmation. Moreover, the brief argues that Smith has so much power, like a U.S. attorney, he is a principal officer under the Constitution's appointment clause, which means he must first be nominated by the president and then confirmed by a majority of the U.S. Senate. Improperly appointed, he has no more authority to represent the United States in his court than Bryce Harper, Taylor Swift, or Jeff Bezos. Damn! Okay, we'll see where that goes. It's probably going nowhere. You know, the court's mushy, mealy-mouthed selves they'll find a way to make it legal. Even though the statute expired in 1999 and has not been renewed, so his office doesn't exist per Congress. Oh my goodness, that'll be interesting. So there's the brief right there. Let's see. This is so TPUSA, Turning Point USA, is having some kind of a AmFest or something down in somewhere. And Rolling Stone decided to write about it. And they're saying that TPUSA is an anti-Semitic organization, right? So the question about the Jewish afternoon prayer service was posted in a WhatsApp group created by Jews attending Turning Point USA's annual American Fest convention in Phoenix, Arizona. Discussion in the group led to multiple kosher meals, including kosher pizza being delivered to the convention floor. There was even a discussion about trying to borrow a Torah from a local synagogue for morning services. Now, had Rolling Stone... So here's the deal. Rolling Stone calls them anti-Semitic, but they didn't have a reporter at AmFest, and they're claiming that this festival, whatever they're doing, is anti-Semitic. Had Rolling Stone magazine sent a reporter to cover the event, they might have seen a traditional Friday night Sabbath dinner hosted by TPUSA and attended by founder Charlie Kirk and Jack Posobiec. They would even have seen the results of that WhatsApp question, afternoon prayers on the convention floor. So they're claiming that TPUSA is anti-Semitic while TPUSA is making special accommodations for its Jewish attendees. Brilliant. Moving on. In Breitbart, fire shuts down GM's electric car plant. Executives blame battery materials. Remember how when the electric car craze started popping off, and every once in a while an electric car would just spontaneously combust into flames? Well, General Motors' new Factory Zero plant was temporarily shut down after a fire broke out. The plant produces electric vehicles, which have a history of catching fire, though GM executives said battery materials were the cause. Well, you know what they put battery materials in? Cars that run on just batteries. So Factory Zero, also known as Detroit Hamtramck Assembly, has been celebrated by President Joe Biden's administration for its all-electric production. On Tuesday, the plant closed after a fire filled the plant with heavy smoke. By Wednesday, GM executives blamed the fire on a forklift accident and said the plant was up and running, though portions remained closed, according to the Detroit Free Press. Our initial investigation indicates a forklift accidentally punctured a container with battery materials, causing the fire, said GM spokesman Tara Kunin. The investigation continues. Both the automaker and the Detroit Fire Department said earlier they are continuing to investigate the cause of the fire that occurred in a shipping dock area and involved lithium-ion batteries. Kunin said that most departments are operational again at the plant, including vehicle assembly. All others will be notified by the leadership when they're to return. Safety remains an overriding priority. Thank you, Gunfox. See you later. I appreciate you being here, as always. All right, now I got to go real lightning round because this is way too long. Great. Biden's Department of Interior offers most restrictive offshore oil drilling plan in U.S. history. The Interior Department announced its final drilling plan for offshore oil and gas leasing over the next 5 years on Friday, setting 3 further lease sales between 2024 and 2029. The federal government is required to lease at least 60 million acres for oil and gas exploration as a condition of issuing offshore wind power leases under the provision of the Inflation Reduction Act. In the final plan, the department is set a lease sale in the outer continental shelf for 2025, with another to follow in 2027 and a third in 2029. But they're severely restricting the number of offshore oil and gas leases over the next 5 years, and business leaders and realists are angered about the threat to the country's economic security under this plan. Is anybody surprised? Anybody? No. See, thank you, GDSOB. Oh, that was Gunfox saying goodbye to him. Never mind. Also, legal insurrection. December is on pace to break more records. More encounter records. On pace? Well, they've already had 2 of the biggest days ever. So, yeah, they're definitely on pace for that. The Washington Examiner's Anna Giaratelli reported that sources told her Border Patrol agents encountered 14,127 migrants on Tuesday. That beat the record from the day before. This is the new records every day. So December is going to be the biggest probably ever. I'm not going to read the article. You can look at it. There's all kinds. We went through a lot of this the other day anyway. PJ Mina, yes. Oh, now everyone's worried about the Great Replacement Theory, which is a conspiracy theory by white people, right? Here's Kevin Downey Jr. saying, "Yes, Americans, we're being replaced. All of us, not just the white people." When they accused Trump of keeping top secret documents in Mar-a-Lago, I knew Joe Biden had a stash of confidential files somewhere. The lefties have been laughingly accusing tree loopers of living in fear about being replaced by folks of color. Never mind that the New York Times published a cringe fest op-ed in 2018 called "We Can Replace Them," a fairy tale that equates Georgia supporters of Brian Kemp with white nationalists. Comrade columnist Michelle Goldberg ended her journalistic feculence with, "In a few days, American voters can do to white nationalists what they fear most. Show them that they are being replaced." They say it out loud very often, you realize. And it's not just about, it's not about white Americans. It's about replacing the current Look, you know who this immigration hits the hardest? The people in Chicago who are screaming right now at their mayor, at their governor, at their president. The people in New York who are screaming at their mayor and their governor and their president. And now even the mayor of New York is blaming the shit on the president because it's causing havoc in places where already people are poor or at least struggling. And all you're doing is bringing in millions of people who are going to take some of those struggling positions for less money. And it's not about replacing white people, although they celebrate that all the time. They're like, "Oh yeah, you know, they're pretty soon we're going to have a white majority minority." because it's not about white people. Guess what? You know that all these people that you're bringing in, that you're letting in, vast majority of them, at least the ones from South America and Central America, the vast majority of them are what? Catholic. Do you think they're on board with some of the bullshit you on the left love? The gender shit and the abortion and all that. You think they're going to figure out pretty quick, oh, wait a minute, these motherfuckers are crazy. So don't think that you're bringing in voters, because I know all your little Hispanic organizations that try to teach these people what's what, try to tell them, oh, yes, see, you need to vote for the Democrats because the Republicans are racist, right? Not when wait till they find out what you stand for. You'll be all you Democrats are going to want these people deported. So don't get too excited about replacing, some certain demographics when they find out what your bullshit is. Anyway, basically this article tells you several different places where leftists, Democrats, progressives, whatever, are celebrating replacing the people they think they're replacing, when really all they're doing is displacing the poor in America. Probably going to cause a little more homelessness too. Daily Caller, Raymond Lopez says the party has lost all common sense when it comes to border crisis and rips on Brandon Johnson, because Brandon Johnson said some stupid shit the other day. We watched that. Let's see what this guy says.
We've walked down this path before, Kellyanne, when we saw Lori Lightfoot try to blame the governor for the failure to protect and secure the border of the United States. My mayor is blaming everyone except the person who needs...
Oh, by the way, Raymond Lopez is a Democrat alderman in the city of Chicago, and he's ripping on his mayor for blaming who?
Governor for the failure to protect and secure the border of the United States.
Some of these Democrats are getting mad too.
Everyone except the person who needs to get the blame, and that is President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who are responsible for protecting and securing our borders and for having a functional immigration system. They're not calling out Secretary Mayorkas for letting asylum seekers come to this country under false pretense and then giving them court cases 10 years from now. They're calling on the governor, who's clearly frustrated, who even has Democratic city mayors begging for help as they are being overrun on a daily basis. It's outrageous that common sense is nowhere to be found in the Democratic Party anymore when it comes to this issue.
Gotcha, bitch.
If we want this to stop, we have to secure the border. We have to stop the draw, which is all the free benefits that people are hearing about and posting about and sharing amongst their social media circles, encouraging the ever-growing flow of individuals, not just from South America now, but from the entire world to come to our southern border, sneak in just so they could get their payment, get their selfie, and then continue the cycle over and over again.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask y'all something.
Literal armed conflict between two.
Let me ask you something. Did that sound like a Chicago Democrat to you? Did that sound like a Chicago Democrat to you? This is one issue that is blowing up in Biden's face. And I don't think he knows it because, well, he doesn't know what's going on anyway. But the puppeteers are hiding the fact that this shit is blowing up in his face. And it's going to be crazy. Now, it's not just, but we know, though, as we've learned in the last few days, it's not just the southern border where this is happening. We know it's a problem on the northern border, too, where a lot of the more dangerous suspects that come through the country illegal have been coming through Canada too. Now here's an article though. I'm laughing at this one because I think Barbara Streisand may have to be concerned soon. The Coast Guard suspects migrant landing in Malibu, the second in weeks on the California coast. Wait a minute, they're taking boats and coming up to Baba's house? The United States Coast Guard is aware of potential landing of illegal immigrants on the shores of Malibu, California, a wealthy beach city where boat remains washed up on shore, according to exclusive photos taken by the Daily Wire, or obtained by the Daily Wire. The photos of the boat was found on Malibu on December 20th showed a panga boat commonly used for human smuggling was found on Latigo shores area of Malibu on Tuesday morning and remains on the beach next to some of the most expensive real estate in the United States. The picture also shows several tanks which appear to have been used to store fuel, as well as a portion of a motor that appears to have broken off the back of the vessel. The Coast Guard representative told the Daily Wire that it is looking into the case as a possible migrant landing, while the representative of the Malibu Lost Hills Sheriff's Station, an affiliate of the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department, said it reported the incident to Customs and Border Patrol. The finding comes just weeks after a video was released showing illegal immigrants disembarking a boat and fleeing after landing on the beach in Malibu, less than a mile from the home of celebrities like Barbra Streisand. Over 24 illegal immigrants were reportedly on the boat, and it's not clear if they were apprehended. So they're getting bolder and bolder, finding new ways, and, how does Customs deal with that? Because they come in from the sea. Because no one's going to send them home. That's why. They can be bold, because even if they get caught, they'll be processed and told to come back in 7 years for your asylum hearing. Over in the Daily Wire. And now, this is funny. So, that... what's that? Something Shores in Texas. They're basically building a neighborhood, a community for migrants, right? Well, apparently the Biden Department of Justice is the Consumer Protection and Financial Bureau is suing Colony Ridge, the massive development north of Houston, Texas, that's become a magnet for illegal aliens, alleging bait and switch sales and predatory financing practices. Well, really? The suit announced today and filed in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Texas states that the massive housing development sold plots of flood-prone land without water, sewer, or electrical infrastructure, all while exploiting a language barrier at the expense of customers. So, remember that Colony Ridge? They were building this housing development. Did I tell you? What did I say when I first saw this article? I don't know if you remember, but I said, this is a scam. They are scamming these people, and they're so there you go. Today's complaint alleges that Colony Ridge targeted Hispanic consumers with predatory loans, misled borrowers about the water, sewer, and electrical infrastructure on its lots, and exploited language barriers by conducting most of its marketing in Spanish while offering important transaction documents only in English. United States Attorney General Merrick Garland asserted. A September investigation by the Daily Wire highlighted how the development's marketing practices appear to be aimed at people who are in the United States illegally. The development sells inexpensive plots of land at sky-high interest rates, targeting buyers such as illegal immigrants who are eligible to apply for traditional loan or ineligible to apply for traditional loans. I told you this was a complete scam. They're just, even if they do these, they give them these loans, and as soon as they default, they take the houses back or whatever. This is, oh my God, this is terrible. This is terrible. Good. Well, at least the Department of Justice might be doing something right. Banksters never let a crisis go to waste. Well, the thing is, these aren't banksters though. These guys, this Colony Ridge, in a way, they were self-financed. They were getting money from banks, but then they were doing their own loans, this off-market loans to these people, and I don't know how they do it. But I told you that is total predatory bait and switch shit that they're finding a way to steal money from somebody. Daily Wire, Pennsylvania School District walks back telling bus drivers to remove Christmas decor for inclusivity. Oh, they tried to tell the bus drivers not to have their own little Christmas decorations and displays in their buses. And on Friday, the Wallingford-Swarthmore School District near Philadelphia sent a memo to bus drivers telling them to immediately remove Christmas decorations and stop wearing Christmas clothing because some parents had complained. Well, apparently they are walking that back. So there must have been some publicity around it because, school districts don't listen to the people that much. We are not in any way trying to remove all signs of Christmas, they say. The school has been receiving complaints from parents concerning district employees displaying Christmas-themed decorations and or wearing clothing of the same nature. The memo to the bus driver said, if you have decorated your with your bus with anything specific to the Christmas holiday or any other decorations relating to a specific religion, please remove them immediately. In addition, employees are instructed not to wear clothing related to Christmas or any other religious holiday, the memo said. The memo added that the guide applies to all district employees, not just the transportation department. I wonder if they allow Muslim employees to wear hijabs. I wonder if they allow Jewish employees to wear yarmulkes. I wonder. The memo added that the guidance applies to all district employees, not just the transportation department. Some drivers reacted to the decision by saying bah humbug, and some called it disappointing, according to Fox 29 Philadelphia. But the district's decision quickly went viral online and sparked outrage. Later on Friday, the superintendent responded to the controversy, saying the memo was a result of a misunderstanding. Cover your ass. Oh, it was just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding and the supervisor of transportation. The memo simply meant to remind bus drivers to find a balance of the district's attempts to be inclusive to a diverse range of holiday traditions in response to the community concerns I've received about religious neutrality. Okay. That article's in the Daily Caller or Daily Wire. All right, I said I was going to go lightning round. I have to now. Apparently, Teachers Union President Randy Weingarten says school choice is about undermining democracy. Wait a minute. So choosing whether or not you want your kids in this school or that school undermines democracy? You know, they just throw out the word. They just throw out words for no reason, without any meaning. She claims school choice undermines democracy. What if people vote for school choice? Is that democracy? The leader of one of the nation's largest teacher union was seen in a viral video saying that school choice undermines democracy. You want to force everyone's kids to go to your union-backed schools? Is that democracy? That doesn't sound like. What is she talking about? What a moron. I don't even want. I'm not even. There's a clip in here of her saying it. She's stupid. I hate her. She needs to just stay out of my business. Oh, a second gay sex tape has allegedly been filmed in the U.S. Capitol. All right. Yeah. Another sex tape was allegedly filmed in the U.S. Capitol, which comes after news broke last week about the aide for Senator Ben Cardin, who allegedly filmed a sex video of himself and an unidentified man inside the Senate committee hearing room. I don't care. Okay, now the headline of this says gay sex tape. The lead line of this does not say gay sex tape, and I don't think it matters whether or not it was a gay sex tape. I don't think any sex tapes should be filmed at the Capitol. So at least so it doesn't make it better or worse if it would have been homosexual or heterosexual sex. Any sex tape filmed in the Capitol probably isn't proper. Somebody said Wednesday that an investigation was launched in June 2022 into a senior aide who worked for the Representative Dan Newhouse over reports of a purported unbecoming behavior. Well, what was unbecoming? Does that mean they didn't finish? Senior aide, to whom the publication decided not to name, denied that he was in the videos and said he was informed by the congressman that the investigation found no evidence to the allegation. Well, I don't know about that. They might have left some evidence on the floor and the carpet and the chair or whatever they were using. Let's see here. Okay, I don't care. I'm done with this. You can read it. I'm not reading any more of that because I've already made this a little bit too sexy. Anyway, moving on. In the Daily Caller. There's two articles about the massive population shift. I have two articles here. One in the Daily Caller and also one in Breitbart that blue states are seeing an exodus. Blue states lose population, red states gain population. Now, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, because if people flee blue states and start going to red states and then they start voting like they were in the blue state, that could fuck some shit up. So, hey, blue state people, stay in your state, please. Either stay in your state or adapt to your new surroundings and start understanding why this place you're moving to is better than the place you came from. But this is showing several states where the population, like Illinois, New York, Michigan, California, all not necessarily losing population, but their populations are not growing as much. Florida and North Carolina, though, have gained tons. So is Texas. So let's see. And here it is. Here's the list of losers: West Virginia, Hawaii, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, Illinois, California, and New York. Now, Louisiana, that's not a red state. West Virginia is a red state, but it's West Virginia, so people leave there. But California, New York really have lost people, and Illinois, the three big states, have lost the most population, and Texas and Florida have gained a ton of population. So hey, again, if you're leaving a blue state, remember why you left and who they voted for there, and act accordingly. Don't start bringing that shit to Texas or Florida. Biden has another senior moment when asked about Israeli hostages. Is there a link? Let's see what he says here.
Are we expecting a hostage deal anytime soon?
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, where?
I was talking about it.
You're talking about we're pushing it. There's no expectation at this point, but we are pushing it.
Okay, he misheard and answered wrong and then answered again. That's not a big deal. But it is Joe Biden, so it's expected. New York Post, Kamala Harris' word salad is more reason to worry about President Biden's age.
Is there anything you, if not regret, you look at this campaign and go, I wish I would have done that? How do you feel about that?
Well, there's always different things that happen.
That's the wrong one. Where'd that come from? That wasn't supposed to play. All right, I'm not going to do that. The Federalists, queer activists are putting those little free libraries? Now the queer activists are putting those books in these little free libraries you see around your neighborhood. And they're doing them in the bottom shelves. The president of the Northern Indiana Atheist raised money to build several little free libraries in 2024, specifically to share banned and challenged diverse books, including those with LGBTQ messaging and pornographic material. So they installed a bunch of these. Little free libraries that you see. Like we have one in our neighborhood where people just share books, right? And now they're having activists going and putting in the pseudo porn books that they are banning from schools, or at least not banning from schools. They're removing them for age inappropriateness. And so that's the new thing. You can read about that. PJ Media. A new voice emerges in the fight against the trans invasion of women's sports. Is this who I think it is? The father of a female athlete, the trans female insanity going on in women's sport is of particular interest to me. It's not merely a problem. It's an existential crisis for women's sports. It's risen to that level rather quickly, too. Here it is. Another female NCAA athlete has been getting some attention for speaking truth to insanity. In a recent appearance on Fox Business, volleyball player Macy Petty spoke out about her two biggest concerns regarding trans athletes. The first being a growing number of stolen opportunities for female and high school athletes. There's a lot of money in sports, and these coaches, their jobs are dependent on them winning. Macy Petty told Varney & Company guest host David Asman on Monday. So if there are no rules from the NCAA saying that it has to be a female that occupies this female scholarship spot, then they're going to go out and recruit whoever that's going to win. Unfortunately, because of biological advantages, they're going to go out and recruit men now. Now, we saw that at the University of Washington, but apparently the trans player that the University of Washington's women's volleyball team offered a scholarship to the university has rescinded the scholarship because they didn't even know that the player was trans because the parents had pretty much. It's funny because the parents supposedly hid it, but other people knew. There were people who knew and just kept quiet about it because you're afraid to talk about it. But once the University of Washington figured out that they had offered one of their 12 scholarships for female athletes to a male, they rescinded the offer. So at least, this is not a winning issue for the trans community. It's just not, because people will automatically see the unfairness. Dave the Caller. Oh, someone says they may have found evidence of the Malaysian airplane that vanished. Remember, they've still never found that. Report published in December details how an Australian fisherman claims he pulled a piece of the missing Malaysia Airlines flight out of the ocean almost a decade ago. On March 8th, 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappeared off radar with 227 passengers and 12 crew members on board. To this day, no one has any idea what happened to the plane or any of the people on it. Well, we do know. Didn't Don, what's his name? Don Lemon? Don Lemon told us what happened. It flew into a black hole. Yes, Abbott Costello. A black hole opened again and it spit it out. So apparently, deep-sea fisherman Kit Oliver, 77, who works off the South Australian eastern coast, told the Sydney Morning Herald that he was out trawling one day a few months after the plane went missing and felt his net snag on something beneath the waves. And though he didn't tell anyone about it until now, what he discovered has eaten at him ever since. It was the bloody wing of a big jet airliner, he told the outlet. I've questioned myself. I've looked for a way out of this. I wish to Christ I'd never seen the thing, but there it is. It's jet wing. The wing was apparently bigger than anything off a small plane, and Oliver would know. He used to fly Cessnas when he was younger. Now that's a simulation picture there, by the way. So apparently he might have a clue to where it is. We'll see if that ever develops. All right, let's finish up with a couple things. On X, what was this? Oh, so this is interesting. So, they're always talking about the election of 2020. And here, I'm just going to play the clip, and then we're going to get out of here. I have two clips, but let's do this one first.
Because of AB4, the number of mail ballots rocketed from about 70,000 in 2016
this is changing
to over 690,000
changing the laws
this year. The election was inevitably riddled with fraud, and our hotline never stopped ringing. While the media and Democrats accused us of making it all up, our team began chasing down every lead. Our evidence came both from data scientists and from brave whistleblowers. Here's what we found. Over 42,000 people voted more than once. Our experts were able to make this determination by reviewing the list of actual voters and comparing it to other voters with the same name, address, and date of birth. This method was also able to catch people using different variations of their first name, such as William and Bill, and individuals who were registered both under a married name and a maiden name. At least 1,500 dead people are recorded as voting, as shown by comparing the list of male voters with the Social Security death records. More than 19,000 people voted even though they didn't live in Nevada.
This
does
Nevada.
not include military voters or students. These voters were identified by comparing the list of voters with the U.S. Postal Service's National Change of Address database, among other sources. About 8,000 people voted from non-existent addresses. Here we cross-reference voters with the Coding Accuracy Support System, which allowed our experts to identify undeliverable addresses. Over 15,000 votes were cast from commercial or vacant addresses. Our experts found these voters by analyzing official U.S. Postal Service records that flag non-residential addresses and addresses vacant for more than 90 days. Incredibly, almost 4,000 non-citizens also voted, as determined by comparing official DMV records of non-citizens to the list of actual voters in the 2020 election.
All right. But 2020 was the safest and most secure and most accurate election ever. That's just in the state of Nevada. There's also a case in Georgia where they are now suddenly reviewing 17 1,000 ballots in Georgia. A state Trump lost by 12,000 votes. Just it's amazing that, but nope. No court is ever going to look at it. No court is ever going to look at it. Okay, what did I have here? Two last things. Oh no, that's just last thing. I'm going to finish up with this, and I don't know what this was from, but this is a woman who immigrated to the United States from South Korea. Or no, wait a minute. Here, hang on a second. What is this from? Where's she from? Hang on a second. Let me.
You're telling me for four.
Give it a second.
I became American last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then South Korean intelligence was saying, now, you're their responsibility. I'm sure FBI gonna protect you.
Sure.
So when they reached out to me to come give a speech, I was excited. I was like, finally, they're gonna protect me. And then 2 days before my speech,
by the way,
the head of diversity calls me.
The head of diversity?
Yeah.
At the FBI?
Yeah. And then
Great.
she says, like, we have to answer your speech.
Yeah.
And why?
You're not diverse enough?
And then she's like, yeah, because of your political opinions. And this is so funny. And in my American interview, citizenship interview, my interviewer asking me this exact question. Have you ever persecuted anybody for their political opinion? You know, if you said yes, you cannot become American.
But you can become FBI.
Exactly. These people should be stripped their American citizen right now. I became American.
So she is a North Korean defector who was in South Korea, and then she immigrated to the United States, and so she was talking about how, you know, the South Korean, whatever the equivalent to the FBI, was protecting her when she was there, and now when she moved here, the FBI was in charge of protecting her, and so but saying that they won't protect her because of her political opinions, because she is very, very critical of the left in the United States. So anyway, all right, gang, I'm way over my normal time, but that's because I don't have to be anywhere again today. Thank you, everyone who's joined me today on the Morning Night Live. It is a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone in the chat, everyone who's oh, I have no sponsors today. Well, that's okay. I'm like looked over. I don't have any sponsors today. That's okay. Here's what you can do. You don't have to sponsor the show monetarily. Just invite a friend here once in a while and see if they enjoy the show too. I want to thank you for being here. Please check out the links today. I will drop them in the chat during the outro. They'll also be in the description after the show on both Rumble and YouTube. Also, go check out my new merch shirts, the global warming ever since the Ice Age t-shirts. I'm going to do a series of those, but the one that there's one right now that's already up, and we'll it's pretty cool. Everyone have a great day. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.